What is going on, everybody? My name is Kneeckoh and welcome back to another competitive Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video. Today I want to talk about something that we should all be thinking about, considering the fact that we're going into Series 2 and Paradox Pokemon are now legal. This is what Paradox Pokemon I feel are going to be really good in Series 2. Obviously, this is going to be subject to change in terms of what Paradox Pokemon will be good as the series change and the rule sets change. But these are what I think will be good right now with the Pokemon that we have available. So if this is your first time here on the channel, make sure you are subscribed for more videos like this in the future. But let's get into it. So my comment question of the day is, what Paradox Pokemon are you most looking forward to team building around in Series 2? For me, I've got a couple that I'm really excited about. I think Flutter Main obviously is one that you just kind of always think about in terms of this kind of format. But a couple other ones are Roaring Moon. I think Iron Moth has some potential. Definitely Great Tusk looks really solid as well. There's a couple different options that I think are really nice in terms of being able to build a fun team around. So the first Pokemon that I want to talk about obviously is Flutter Main. Flutter Main is just a menace. It was in the pre-Series 1 format. When everybody was just kind of testing stuff out on the ladder and everybody thought we were actually going to be able to use Paradox Pokemon prior to Series 1. And it's because of this. Like, look how strong these stats are. Now, obviously, it's not super defensive. It's not going to take a lot of hits, but it's just so fast that the only thing really that you have to worry about outspeeding it is, one, another Flutter Main if you're losing a speed tie, and then two would be like Meowscarada with a Choice Scarf. Those are the only things that you really have to worry about outspeeding this Pokemon. I guess you could also worry about Iron Bundle. Iron Bundle's very fast as well. So those are just a handful of the Pokemon that you have to worry about. But this Pokemon's just so fast and has so much use cases in terms of building around it. So I see, for the most part, you're going to be running Booster Energy on this. I'm actually going to copy it over from a team I've been working on. So you're obviously running Booster Energy because your only ability is Photosynthesis, right? And this is just something that's really good. I have the EV spread like this just for now because this, I don't feel like you need to invest a ton into your speed. You could just simply distribute elsewhere because you're going to be outspeeding everything with a Booster Energy at this speed tier, right? But like, the set that I have on the one that I'm testing right now is Dazzling Gleam, Sunny Day, Shadow Ball, and Icy Wind with a Fairy Terra type. This is a pretty fun set. Now, obviously, a lot of people are swapping out Sunny Day for Protect, but there isn't a limit to the number of Paradox Pokemon that we're actually able to use right now. So I do think Sunny Day has some value because you're able to pair this with other Paradox Pokemon, you know, like Great Tusk, like Roaring Moon, and you're able to activate their Photosynthesis by having Sunny Day. You're also able to counter Rain teams pretty effectively with this as well. So it's a valid option to be running this on this particular Pokemon and pairing it with things like Roaring Moon. It's just a really nice way to beef up other Pokemon and make this more supporty with Icy Wind and Sunny Day. But as a standalone attacker, this is just super strong. Like, it's such a powerful Pokemon. It is kind of crazy how good this Pokemon is. Now, I don't think it's going to be insane because there's a lot of different counters that you can use into this Pokemon. Like, for one, King Gambit plays so well into this Pokemon. This Pokemon just hates King Gambit. Other Pokemon that are going to probably see a little bit more play, I could see definitely Steel type Hariyama Bullet Punches coming your way, or Scizor seeing some play with Bullet Punches because you get the stab automatically. I think Scizor is going to see quite a bit of use with the number of Fairy Paradox Pokemon, and it's just a very good defensive Pokemon in general. So I could definitely see Scizor seeing some play due to this Pokemon's existence. But this Pokemon's definitely really fun. The next Pokemon, obviously, Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon, I feel, has a lot of potential to be very good. You know, with something like this, Iron Head. You can run Dragon Claw. You could opt for Dragon Dance if you wanted to. You don't have to. If you wanted to go for a more offensive build, you could play, you know, something like Crunch and then Protect, something like that. And then this Pokemon's attack stat is just nuts, and it's got pretty decent defensive stats as well. So you can kind of just go like this, give it a little bit more defense here, and then cap out that speed. You could do something like this and give it an Adamant Nature and just make it so powerful because, for one, you could run Booster Energy on this. However, I think it's more valuable if you run something like Clear Amulet, and the only thing that can really slow you down is like a Will-O-Wisp or something. I think that's just much more valuable on this particular Pokemon. DD is effective as well. You could run Dragon Dance. It's pretty nice on this Pokemon for setting it up if maybe you don't want to rely on the sun to set it up, or if you're already running booster energy, something like that, you could run that. But I think this Pokemon, just with how strong it is going to see a lot of play. I think, you know, you're probably going to see mainly Steel Terra typing on this. That's going to be something that's very common. I could probably see it maybe running Fire to counter some other stuff with like fairies being available, things like that, you know. Probably Poison. You'll probably see a lot of the same Terra types on this that you see on Hydreigon. Next up, I want to talk about Great Tusk, because I think this is actually a pretty solid Pokemon. Again, I think this is a fun Clear Amulet Pokemon. I have another one. I'm going to copy it over. So this Pokemon actually has access to some decent moves. It has like Ice Spinner, Play Rough. It's got some really interesting tools that it can actually use. But this is the set that I've been testing with. Clear Amulet on it. Photosynthesis. Again, you're pairing this with something that can set the sun for you. For example, a Flutter Main. Or I'm actually running this with a Sableye that can set sun with Prankster. So that's kind of fun. I have a Fire Terra typing on it. I haven't really worked which Terra typing I like the most, but this Pokemon is just so powerful. Look at these stats. Like, it is absolutely so strong. And then you can pretty much run it like a Hariyama and max the attack and max the special defense, because your defense is already so freaking high. And you're not going to worry about speed and outspeeding stuff. So you're just going to go in for like close combats, Headlong Rush. That's super great. This is like a close combat for ground types. It's so strong. But then you also have access to Rock Slide, which can be pretty effective into some other Pokemon, some flying types, some things like that may be otherwise problematic for you. Again, I haven't really worked out the kinks on the Terra typing that I think will be good, but I think this Pokemon has a lot of potential, especially if you're playing around your sun effectively. You know, I'm running it with like a Quash Sableye, so I'm making this attack first. And it makes for some really interesting synergies. I think the issue that a lot of the Violet version Paradox Pokemon are having is that there's really not any effective setter outside of Pincurchin for like the electric terrain. So you're not seeing as much use out of those Pokemon. I think once like Tapu Koko and stuff gets added, they'll be much more prevalent. But right now, with this being the only option in the Scarlet Paradox Pokemon having access to things like Torkoal, it just makes them so much more valuable right now than the Violet. But I do think some of the Violet are actually going to see some play as well. For when I'm seeing a lot of Iron Hands right now, people really seem to like this Pokemon. This is running Booster Energy for sure. The reason they're running it, it gets Fake Out, which is really nice. Does it get Bullet Punch as well? No, it doesn't get Bullet Punch, so that makes things interesting. Close combat on this. Drain Punch, I've seen, you know, what else? Thunder Punch. You know, you've seen things like that, and it's just, again, it's a very defensive Pokemon. You're going to go ahead and you can do this. Maybe give it a little more speed investment to outspeed stuff like King Gambit, things like that. It's just a really solid Fake Out Pokemon. I've seen some people going for like a Grass Terra typing to avoid damage from potential ground type attacks, things of that nature. I've seen this quite a bit on the Showdown ladder. I think this is a good Pokemon. I don't know if it's as good as like Hariyama right now, because it can do the same things, right? It can do the same things with Guts and Flame Orb. I wanted Fake Out. I don't know why I was typing Thick Fat. But it could do the same kind of stuff, except for the fact that it gets Bullet Punch and really puts pressure on Flutter Mains, right? Because right now this Pokemon really doesn't do anything to a Flutter Main. It can't close combat, it can't Drain Punch. You're gonna be like Thunder Punching it, doing things like that. But this Pokemon can put pressure onto Flutter Mains by Terraing into a Steel type and really do some serious work. You could run like Knockoff and stuff on it as well. But this Pokemon, I think, could be just a better option, and if you wanted to run a Hariyama variant. I just think it has more value right now with Bullet Punch because of the fairy types. Again, you know, you're seeing so many different ones. Another one I'm seeing quite a bit of is Iron Bundle, and I don't think Iron Bundle's a bad Pokemon by any means. Like, it's got really nice stats if you look. The problem that Iron Bundle has is that it just kind of gets rocked really easily with its defensive stats. Like, it's super easy to knock out. I've seen some people running Sash on it. Because it is like the fastest Pokemon in the game, right? It does so much with its speed stat. I'm gonna run like a Timid Nature on it, and it is one of the few Pokemon that actually gets access to Freeze Dry, which is really valuable. There's not a ton of very like crazy water Pokemon right now in the format. I mean, this will play well into like Dondozos and stuff, assuming they don't Terra. But like this works into like Rotoms and stuff. But it's not as valuable as it was with like, you know, Tapu Finis running around and things like that. So It's a good Pokemon. It has a lot of really strong attacks, and with its speed stat being what it is, it's a very, very strong Pokemon. It's just kind of tough with how weak it is to justify bringing it when, you know, like a Sucker Punch from King Gambit does like half damage, right? It's insane, and like this Pokemon just gets walled by a King Gambit, right? So there's just things you have to consider right now with this Pokemon. I think this Pokemon might see better play later on as the formats kind of shift, but right now I can't see Iron Bundle seeing a ton of use. Obviously, this is all just me going off the top of my head. We don't have any usage stats yet because Showdown just last night opened the Series 2 ladder. So it's just right now all speculation. As we get more usage stats, these things are likely to change, but right now this is just immediately what I'm thinking about is going to be really good. Actually, I have found some use cases for Iron Moth. I think Iron Moth is actually going to be half decent. The reason for that is it's just so strong, right? It's so strong. You can do something like that. In terms of that, we go for a booster energy here. Let me take a look. What's my perfect? You can go for you can go for something like this and do really big damage, because then you're maxing out your special attack, and it gets access to things like Heat Wave. It gets Sludge Wave, which is really, really cool. You can pair this with like an Amoonguss or really on any other redirection Pokemon and just spam like Heat Waves and Sludge Waves and do really, really big damage, especially with like fairy types. Like Flutter Main doesn't like any of that. What else am I running? Energy Ball is good, you know, counter the water types that are coming. I think Terra Fire is probably best, so you can maximize that Heat Wave, especially because if you pair this Pokemon, you're not going to be running this Pokemon with like, you're not trying to set up electric terrain. You're probably going to be running this with another Paradox Pokemon from Scarlet, and then in that case, you're going to be running Sunny Day, right? So your Heat Waves are going to do that much more damage. So I think it's just a really solid option in terms of just punching out Pokemon with Heat Waves. You can run like Protect on that. I think this Pokemon has some serious potential. Another one I'm seeing quite a bit of, Brute Bonnet. Brute Bonnet is actually really good because it does still get access to Spore. It's just a bulky Spore user that has access to things like Sucker Punch and just really big damage. Let me see, what else have I been seeing it run? It does get Stomping Tantrum, which is really nice into fire types that oppose it. What have they been using? I've been seeing quite a bit of it. Seed Bomb, there it is. You can run something like this, and then just go for like a defensive bulky Pokemon. Throw something like this here. I don't know. Change your stats as you see fit to like take certain hits from Pokemon. But having access to Spore is really big. This can play pretty well into opposing Amoonguss because you can't get spored. This Pokemon I've seen quite a bit. It's just really strong, and with the Booster Energy Sucker Punches, it's just kind of crazy how much damage this Pokemon can actually do. Trying to think of other ones. I mean, there's like Iron Valiant, and I think this Pokemon's kind of decent. But like the problem that you're facing with this particular Pokemon is just like it's kind of squishy. It's very squishy. I really haven't been seeing too much of this on the ladder. It's really squishy. It gets knocked out pretty easily, especially with things like, you know, like I said, there's a lot of steel types right now because everybody's worried about Flutter Main. So I think this Pokemon has some use cases, but I haven't been seeing a ton of it because it's just not, of the options available to you, it's not one of the stronger ones. I think the last one that I've seen a decent amount of is Screamtail. Screamtail has been kind of cool just because it's a really bulky Trick Room setter. Like it's got pretty decent defensive stats. So you're able to go in and like do this little number here, and it gets access to like really cheeky stuff like Thunder Wave and what else did we get here? It does have Dazzling Gleam if you want to do that. It gets screens. Like it's a really good support Pokemon, and I think it has some use cases. I've actually seen this fair bit as just basically a Trick Room setter to set up the rest of your team. And I don't know if it's going to be a fantastic Trick Room setter. I still think things like Farigiraf are just going to be better because of like the ability that you have. But I think this is a valid option if you want to try and work Screamtail. If you're a big Screamtail fan, I think there's some option there. Again, I know I didn't cover a ton of the Violet Paradox Pokemon. I just don't think many of them are that great. Like if you think of like Iron Thorns, it's just like, it's got decent stats, but you have to waste your booster energy on this to make it super good, because unless you're running it with like Pincurchin, it doesn't matter. And then its typing just kind of makes it kind of weak to a lot of different stuff. It's just not a fantastic Pokemon. What else do we have? Iron Treads, again, same deal that you're having with Iron Thorns, is you're wasting your booster energy to get this powered up. I think just Great Tusk is just a better option. Iron Jugulus, you're having the same issues. I mean, it changes Hydreigon's typing, and it gets pretty much the same move pool as Hydreigon. But I just think Hydreigon's just better. Like, if you want to run this Pokemon, just run Hydreigon. It just has more options available to it. I think it's just all around a better Pokemon. Especially, yeah, this loses access to Draco Meteor. That makes it kind of a loss in terms of playing into opposing Hydreigons. Like, it gets Dragon Pulse, but like Draco Meteor, come on. So that is all I have for this video. Just some basic stuff on talking about what I think you should be trying out in this particular format. I think there are some really, really fun options in terms of team building, and if you want to start testing, prepping a team for Series 2, Showdown has the Series 2 ladder available, so these Pokemon are available to play on Showdown right now. That is, like I said, it. If you found the video entertaining and helpful, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Be sure to check out the Discord also, where people over there playing Pokemon all the time. And if you want to see more from me, check out this video where Murkrow goes absolutely insane on the Series 1 ladder. Super fun video. And also check out this video where I break down how to use Tinkaton in competitive VGC. Tinkaton is a really fun support Pokemon, and I think has honestly been slept on, and I think it's a really solid Pokemon. Check this out. It is really fun. But until next time, peace.